We're live.
It will be on there.
Don't worry, man.
I'll share the link on.
All right, guys. Let's start with an opening prayer. Everyone's ready. Let's bow our heads. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for allowing us all to be here, allowing us to also have the means. Help what we talk about to be guided by yourself, Lord, and help you to touch somebody. And bless us as we continue in our ministry, Lord. In your holy precious name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Man. Okay, guys. Woo! So here we go. Episode 2. And we thank you so much for all the support. We have been overwhelmed by the amount of support that we've had from you guys. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Keep your comments coming in. Keep your likes. Keep subscribing. It's been really, really amazing. God is doing awesome things. So today we are talking about Jack of all trades. Can you fit me in? Now, all of us were so busy, and many of you guys are busy out there as well. And life just gets crazy at times. And we're still supposed to be able to juggle all these things, juggle life, juggle this, juggle that, and still look as beautiful as this.
Right.
Come on, Dion.
Well,
Yes, Dion.
Yes, big up yourself. Go on, Marcus.
Well,
so let's get straight in with some questions. At the end of, towards the end of today's episode, you have all sent in some really interesting topics, some really deep questions, which have just been, it's made us kind of discuss and be like, whoa, okay, these are some deep things. So we'll reveal one of the questions later on, so continue to stay tuned.
Okay, so let's jump right into it again, guys. First question, we're talking about Jack of all trades. The saying goes, Jack of all trades, master of none. Well, obviously we have to learn to be masters of everything, masters of all. So what takes precedence in your life? What takes precedence with regards to your time? Jonathan and Cherie.
So I would say for me, family time.
Yeah.
It's got to be the most important thing. Don't get me wrong. You need time to do your own time and time to go to the gym, jiu-jitsu, of course. But I think family time, that time you spend with wife, time you spend with kids, because it's almost like you got to spend time with your family, but spend time with your partner as well, I guess.
I think we try really hard to find a way. And of course, you girls know that you have to try and find time for ladies' time as well. So it's hard, but I think because we both have that understanding and we know that's, I've got to be understanding when he wants to have his jiu-jitsu time, however many times a week, and he wants to be on the phone talking about jiu-jitsu, and Caleb's doing jiu-jitsu. And I'm a watching jiu-jitsu videos.
Come on now.
So hold on, Cherie, you're not doing jiu-jitsu yet?
What's going on?
Up and then everything got locked off, didn't it?
COVID.
Yeah, COVID kicked in. But yeah, I think you just have to be understanding. Everyone needs their own time, but you need to make time for each other as well. And obviously, we make time for each other as ladies. So yeah, you just got to somehow just get your way through it.
Anyone else? How do you juggle it? How do you juggle being Dr. Stace? How do you juggle doing that? And you've got a newborn,
homeschooling,
a wife.
Yeah, it is a lot. I think for me, it's definitely organisation, and I think particularly my work-life balance has got a lot better since I went part-time, and I think we're just fortunate enough that I'm able to do so. Before I went part-time, I really struggled balancing both family and work. I felt like I was at work all the time. I was burning out, and the day that I would have at home, because it was my one day at home, I was running around trying to do everything, so do all the housework and spend time with the kids and spend time with Dre. It was really, really hard. So being able to drop my hours has definitely helped. You mentioned we've been homeschooling and everything as well, so we've definitely needed to be super organised. I try and get my planning done out of the way at the weekend for the week. We also
homeschooling, do you know how hot this is?
Our charts have charts. That's
our charts have charts. You have the planner and the bridge, so everyone knows where everyone is supposed to be at a particular time. And it's just really helped, because then at least, because I'm at home the most, so I'm doing the bulk of everything to do with the kids. So it helps Dre as well to know what's going on and who's where, when. And so it also allows us to see when we can fit our time in.
Dre, that was a nervous laugh still.
He doesn't even look at it, that's why.
He writes on everything.
Like, you know what? It became a bit of a madness because it got to the point where Stace would just be this machine. She knew exactly what was going on. Then when I had a spare moment, I'm kind of like this spare part, like, oh, where do I fit in? Stacey's like disappearing off with the kids and going, where are you going? Oh, I'm taking them to gymnastics. Oh, then they got to go to football. Then I'm like, I'm now feeling like a really bad parent because I don't have any of this information. So we've had this chart which gets put on our fridge now.
I was going to say, where's the chart or something?
This is it.
On the
It's split by day to say who's doing what. And on a Sunday, everyone writes down what they're doing for that week. So we know, should Stacey be here? Oh, I've got to go and do this. So it allows me to actually step in and be proactive and kid myself that I thought of it myself.
That's good though. That's a good plan. Very organized.
Yeah.
No, Stacey's definitely the most organized out of all of us. Definitely, because I'm not a list person. I've got the 3 kids, but we're more spontaneous, aren't we?
I wish I lived in a hot country and had a maid, a cleaner, a cook, and a driver, because my life would be so happy, and a nanny. My life would be so happy, because I'm telling you right now, it's a hard graft balancing work, fun time, homeschooling. Go on.
Why though? Why wait for a hot country? Like, if I can do that now.
Yes.
No. We can't afford that in England.
Over here, like,
of
you don't know
course.
whether to enjoy.
Say that again?
Or do it abroad. I was just saying, if you can have a nanny and maid and everything over here, but what's the point of having someone to do all the work for you, because you've got no weather to go outside and enjoy your free time anyway.
There you go.
So you can only enjoy
Me as well.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And to be fair, I'm very protective of my family, and I like to claim like the stuff that I do. I don't know how I'd feel having another woman in my house looking after my kids and my husband.
So let me just backtrack a little bit. I'm not a lazy guy.
Wow, no claws.
French maid.
I'm just, I haven't got used. The idea of a nanny isn't appealing to me, if I'm being honest.
But I'm sure we said that we went to Thailand, and I'm sure you said that if we lived there, you'd have a cook, cleaner, and all that kind of stuff.
There'd have to be male Micah.
100.
I'm not having no man sniffing around my daughters and my wife. No, thank you.
No.
So basically, the people have to be over 70 years old.
Well, that makes.
But to be fair though, what we do is in the morning we'll be like, right, what have you got on your list of things to do? Because we do have a calendar, but we're both not very good at looking at it all the time. And then we'll say, right, we want to do this, and this, and then we'll just switch it up between ourselves. That's how we managed to be ready on time today.
Well, yeah.
8 o'clock.
Calendar. What I do.
Listen, man, I just finished prayer meeting, so hush your gums.
Oh, did he really just throw the church responsibilities at us?
Go on, Stacey.
I was just saying, with our calendar, we have individual calendars and we have joint calendars as well on our phone. And what I have to do is input reminders so that it reminds Dre what's happening. I'll do it like a week before, 2 days before, a day before, 2 hours before, because that's the only time I can guarantee he'll have looked at it and understood what's going on for that day. So maybe you just need to send reminders when.
Listen, that Marcus has been trying to do that for ages with us. He's been, have you get it sorted on your phone? Accept it, and all this time, all he's doing is just adding more stress load to my life. Like, just talk to me, just say to me, D, this is what's happening today. I don't want, well, have you checked the calendar? I don't want to check.
Listen, we can't have all this technology and not use it.
Exactly.
You have to be careful, Marcus.
And 100% of the time, she'll be on her phone anyway, so why not use it?
That's the true point.
She's on her phone doing interesting things. That's what she's doing. Not messing around with the calendar. I don't already understand. Shari's the one for sending, accepting things. And I'm like, what me accepting on?
I'm like, so babe, I've sent you 3 invitations. Have you seen them? And he's like, no, what are they for? And I'm like, well, what's the point of me sending if you're not going to read them? He's like, just
exactly. You know what they were for. You opened it up.
Right. To those of you who aren't organised, and I class myself as one of those, do you ever find it stifling when you have a super organized partner and they're just like, you need to be here at this time and do that and do this and do that, and you start to go,
what are you saying?
I'm asking a question.
Stifling, you know.
I'm asking a question, guys. I'm asking a question.
Manners.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts? Come on, man.
You're on your own, Dre. Sorry.
Oh, you're not slack.
It's wonderful.
But I would say one of us are like.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm just, I'm asking for those who may not have what. Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly, it is difficult sometimes. Because in your head you've got your plans as what you're going to do throughout the day. And then you get thrown, oh no, don't forget you've got this, you've got that, you've got that. So sometimes, you got to kind of roll with the punches. But yeah, I do I understand elements of having that person that's managing you.
Yeah.
CEO.
Yeah, now to be fair, he calls me the CEO of the house all the time.
Well, this is what I was just going to say.
He goes,
He can't help it because he's a project manager.
Yeah.
That's what he does. You're the same with you, Cherie. You like your jobs, your roles make you go into that. Now I can manage my time. I have to. I'm a teacher. I have to know structure for the day and whatnot.
Creative and free flowing, so that's the problem.
That's true. That's very true as well. But I still believe in communication. Come on now, episode 1, guys.
Yeah. We communicate. She just don't listen.
Wow. Low blow, bro. Low blow.
Whoa.
Low blow.
No, I think what helps us like tying that communication point in as well is that sometimes it doesn't have to be. I've taught myself this. It doesn't have to be written down. It doesn't have to be agreed. It doesn't have to be a meeting invite. It can just be like 5 minutes. Like, oh babe, do you remember that we've got to do this, this, and this? And like, if there's something, because I've got a habit where I remember something that I need to share, but I'm conscious of telling him just in case he already knows. And he's like, yes, babe, I know.
Yeah,
so I kind of think, oh, should I remind him about such and such, or should I just leave it because he might already know? And then like, I'll just do it as like a quick like, oh, babe, yeah, so you know that thing on da-da-da-da? And that kind of triggers him to either say, oh, nah. And I think, oh yeah, well, I'm just reminding you, like, it's happening. So like, sometimes I have to kind of be careful, because if I tell him and he already knows,
yes, Cherie.
He's like, yes, Cherie. I'm like, oh,
but you know what though? I think part of it is, again, the way you communicate.
Yeah.
Because like Jonathan's saying, if Cherie comes in there or Dion comes in there and she's saying, didn't I tell you about that thing that was on earlier on? And it's like, yes, I know, babe. Why are you telling me again?
Yeah.
But if she came in, like Michael was saying, a soft word, spoken.
Whoa.
Hello?
So what are you trying to say?
Nothing.
That I don't come.
I said sometimes that's what happens. So, we got to learn to communicate nicely as well at the end of the day. So anyway, workload balance, work-life balance, moving on.
You need to. You better.
Work-life balance. What do you think about work-life balance? Is it a thing? We always talk about it in life, in at work. They talk about having a work-life balance. Is it something that's achievable, or is it just one of those things that's it's flowery, it's fruity, it's there, but it never really happens?
I think it depends on your job.
Yeah.
To be honest, because previous to me getting into healthcare, like, that was non-existent, mate. Like, well, Dre, you'll know, like, it's just go at all times, and it's completely acceptable to email me at 8 o'clock and expect a response. It's absolutely fine for somebody in a different, like, time zone to just expect a response straight away, or to want you to do something at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's fine. And I don't know, if you're happy with that, that's fine. If that suits your life, that's cool. But it didn't really suit me. And I think Jonathan's blessed with his rota because it allows him to have some days at home. I mean, at the minute, I try and work on the days he's off, so that's not great, but I don't do all of the days.
All day?
Yeah, and I don't work the whole day either. I'll do like an early or an after, like a late or something, so that we've still got like those few sacred hours. But yeah, like, I don't know, I really do think it depends on the job. It really does. And you just have to try and accommodate it the best you can.
And I think you have to know what your limits are from the onset. For example, like Stacey said, I feel like medicine is an all-consuming kind of job. If you go full-time, you are not seeing your family, you're not seeing your kids. And for me, from the minute I had my first, I knew I was not going to work full-time in medicine, because I work 60%-ish, kind of, but because it's 3 days a week, 10-hour shifts, by the time I've done like a week of nights, which is 3 days, I feel like that's a whole week of work. And like now I'm trying to do some like kind of get involved in kind of the planning and management side of work too. I'm bringing my work home with me as well. And it's, if I don't set my boundaries so my colleagues know, okay, on this day, Winnie is not going to talk about work, or they're going to ring me and they're going to be like, can you fill a shift? And they know Winnie's probably going to say no. Like if they know that family comes first to me, then it's not going to be an issue. I mean, it still has its moments when if I'm revising for an exam or Mike has got a sermon to write where work does take precedence for that day or that week or that period of time. But in general, I think we get the balance.
I think we do. I think we struggled at the beginning, and I think we've done a lot better over time. So, for example, I'm a pastor. I work 6 days a week, so sometimes it's very difficult to have a shut-off period. So, for example, someone may call you at 12:30 because they've just had a bereavement, or they may call you early in the morning because they have an issue, and sometimes it's really difficult to shut off. So I found that my spiritual life, my work life, my family life, my social life, all just amalgamated into one. And that for me was really damaging for my family, because there wasn't any separation. And I felt like over time, I've learned to give myself some space and to prioritize the kids, so that I can shut off and I can say to people, no, I can't do this right now. And it's been hard. It's taken me some time to get used to, but it's definitely benefited our living situation. Definitely. 100%.
See, because like you would think it used to be, oh, you know, thank the Lord for the Sabbath. Thank God that the Sabbath is here now. And then now children have come along. It's a whole, there's no, Sabbath is not no day of rest. It's just not. Like, don't get me wrong. Sabbath is an awesome blessing. That's not what I'm saying. But because what I find is that we are busying ourselves now, and we're doing even more stuff. So now it's like, run, take the children to Sabbath school, run, go here. Then such and such got a meeting. Then Marcus is in a meeting. Then he's in another meeting that's about a meeting that's going to have a meeting.
You're not a pastor in the fly, bro.
And then the kids have meetings. Yeah. And the kids have busier schedules than we do.
I don't know if you guys can remember a time when, like, on a Sabbath afternoon, you'd like be able to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and you'd wake up drunk, tired, and you're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like, and then you
drunk on the holy grape juice now. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't sleep.
But yeah, work-life balance is difficult, but I think once you've got it nailed, like you're kind of good to go. Because you can get caught up in, like, you know, I've been at work all day, I need my time. Not realizing, hold on, the other person's been at home all day too, and they possibly need some time. So you kind of get to a mutual place with each other where you can get your time, you can get your rest time and your relaxed time, and so can they. But you got to work you obviously have to work together.
I think Mike.
Okay, so I think this is where my next question comes now. So we're all people of faith, yeah? We're all spiritual people, we're people of faith, and when the Bible talks about temperance, when we are relating it to our faith aspect of things, does temperance not matter? Or is temperance only about work things? Is temperance only about your health? Or is temperance like, okay, well, including, I know it would be difficult for you, Micah, because obviously you're a pastor, so your experience of it is going to be different to ours, or Marcus, because you're an elder too, so it's going to be a different feel. But what do we think? Is there a difference? Does it matter?
There definitely is a difference. I believe temperance isn't just about prioritizing time. It's not just about making sure you have a healthy diet plan. Temperance for me is about how you prioritize what's important to you without overindulging or or over-exerted. Let's use that term. So for example, if I'm going to be temperate, I'm going to want to go to bed at a certain time. I'm going to want to give Winnie enough time and affection, spend enough time with the kids.
Yes.
Girl, that's important, man. That's important now. So I believe
before or after bedtime. I'm not too, couldn't get it right. Sorry.
Watershed's not till 9 o'clock, please.
Yeah.
Winnie, I'll let Winnie answer.
Come back to that question in 7 minutes, yeah?
How would you talk about temperance, though?
I agree with you. I think in everything that you do, whether it's to do with church, to do with your family, because I think you can be intemperate in your family as well. Because I think you can be, like, you can spend so much time with them, you don't look after yourself, that you could even end up resenting, like, why am I always at home? That wasn't my experience, but I think you could get to that stage if you don't spend enough time balancing everything.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I think just along those lines, it's definitely important that you still retain time for yourself, because I think especially the longer that you're married and the longer that you've had kids and stuff, it's quite easy to lose yourself. Like the other day, I found myself thinking, what did I used to do for, like, you know, my own enjoyment before I had kids, before I got married? Because I just have no time in my days, in my weeks now, to even think about myself. Such a long time ago, I used to do things for myself that I can't remember what I used to do.
Yeah, trust me.
It took me it's taken me 3 children to even figure out who I am, because that was something I struggled with, because I was trying so hard to be this amazing mother that was there for my children, there for my husband, you know, and I kind of lost myself. And I have to thank God really for you guys, because if it wasn't for our ladies' nights, and, you know, then I like loved the gym. Yeah.
Love me. I like myself.
Guys, I think we need to start something as well.
100%.
There's no time for that.
It changed your life.
These guys, when we had our last Zoom call off air, carried on talking to the early hours of the morning whilst we were all asleep. So,
was it like
we just say that it was the ladies who fell asleep.
So
no, you lot started it, and then one by one you all dipped off, like vanished, and then Jonathan went to find her and she was asleep somewhere.
Because we're temperate.
Can I just say, the reason why that happened is because we think about things differently to you guys. So when
sorry.
So when you lot are chatting, and you don't business, you're having a whale of a time. We're counting down the hours as to when the children are about to wake.
Hallelujah.
That's the difference.
Listen.
So thank you. So you guys are there having a whale of a time, which is great for you.
My children don't dictate my time.
I'm going to work the next day, so I'll be like, I'm gone.
How do you end this conversation? How do you leave?
Mom will stay up doing all manner of foolishness until 1, 2 o'clock, whatever it may be. And the next morning, when I'm getting ready to go to work, who's hurt? Absolutely hurt. Like, man.
Hey, consequences. As long as we can deal with the consequences, we're good, man.
He does back it, but he struggles. And then I come home and he's an absolute mess. And I'm like, so tonight you're going to go to bed earlier, or you're going to do that again? And
I have the same conversation with Dre, and he never learns every single day.
Don't listen to me.
I'll come in.
Big man thing, man. Big man thing. We know what.
You don't know that Marcus got dropsy, right? You know that. So for those of you that are watching,
straight to sleep,
that don't understand what dropsy is, Marcus could be standing up and he'd fall asleep. He has the power of sleep.
It's because I work so hard.
That's right. That's right, brother.
He can sleep anywhere, which is great. I wish I could do that. So because I don't have those skills, I wasn't blessed with that gift. I don't have that. So I do have to count down the hours. He will stay up, he will talk, he will chat to his brothers, he will do what he's got to do, he'll have his time, he'll chat to you, man, and still wake up in the morning, carry on as normal, but then believe it, he'll drop asleep during some time when I need him to talk to me. So here we are, back to the main question. Can you fit me in? So when do you fit me in, please?
After my power nap.
Calling him out.
I like what Dion said, man. And based on that, this I think is like the next question. So how do you guys make time for each other? And even more so, how are you doing it at the moment when all you've got is either work or home or the park, according to Boris?
Unlimited.
Know what he's saying.
I think it's go on, Stacey.
We used to be quite good at having date nights. So when we just had Aaliyah, because of the hours I was still working, she used to sleep over at my parents every Wednesday night. So we knew we had every Wednesday night to ourselves, and we'd go out and eat at a restaurant or go play crazy golf or something like that. We'd just find something that we could do that night that would be us together.
Can we just pause for a minute there, Stace? Can we just give a round of applause for the parents and the grandparents?
100.
Because
I missed them.
if it wasn't for them, oh Lord. Anyway, yeah, Stace, carry on.
So yeah, we were really good back then. Now it's become a lot more difficult.
That free time is why we have 3 kids. So
So just stick to the crazy golf, please.
Yeah. So to be honest, like back in the day, it used to be so much easier. For me personally, I am finding it quite difficult now. And so what we started to find out is when you're making time for each other, it's not necessarily time to do things together. It's more, for us, it's become a case of just letting each other know that we've got time. So like when I've got a break in between my meetings, like I'll come downstairs and I'll just sit and I'll talk to Stacey for like 5 minutes and I'll run back up. And I know it's not making that quality time, but it's letting her know that whenever I have a spare moment, she's the first one that I want to spend time with. And it's just sometimes those little things throughout the day that just let her know, and now you're making it so awkward, that just let her know that she's front of my mind.
Right, guys, I think we need to finish now because number 4 might be on its way.
The shop is closed.
Zoom is taking over their free time.
Preach.
Let me ask you a question. Go on, Marcus.
No, go on. Ask the question.
I was going to say, is spending time for yourself, like your own self, me time, is that important? And what kind of stuff do you do during that time?
Definitely important. As I said, we have a schedule. And so what doing is free. I'm having a nice bubble bath that night. And he will run me a bubble bath with candles and all my nice smelly things. And that's my me time.
And why I like
organize that.
No, but why? No. So what happens is if I see she's stressed, I'm like, oh, do you know what? Do you want a bath tonight? Do you want to just relax? And she's like, oh, I could really do with one. Because I don't know when that bath is set, those candles are on, she's got her laptop just beside the bath watching the program. I'm free for an hour and a half. That's exactly it. So
I don't know how someone could spend an hour and a half in the bath. I get bored after 10 minutes.
Thank you. You come out like a wrinkly prune.
You're not doing it.
Yeah. I'm a shower guy, man. In and out quick. No, soaking in the bath till your skin's coming off.
So, like wash clean then.
Wow, listen, I can show you, bro. Soaking in the bath for an hour and a half. I get bored. Then you start sweating in the bath because it's hot.
I can't do it.
Yeah. I think
sometimes.
So, like, going back to the question, I get criticised a lot for not making me time. Because Jonathan will always call me up and say, so, what are you going to do, babe? And then I'm like, last month I went to ladies' night.
Last month, you know.
And he's like, so, what are you going to do? And sometimes I do genuinely think, like, I'm almost in that place where I just want to be at home. Like, I'm quite loving this lockdown, but I'm like, I just want to be home. I just want to be with the kids. I just want to be here when he comes home. And I don't really like to go out when he's home because I'm like, but you've been at work for 4 days straight and I haven't really seen you. And like, now I don't want to go because you're back. But
listen, too much love today.
Normally, I think I need to find something. So, like, when I was going to boxing before everything happened, like, I would make time. So I'd definitely look at his, like, entire month's rota. I'll be like, right, I can go this day. And, like, as he comes in, I'm like, right, I'm gone. Or, do you know what I mean? So, like, once I've found something, like it works. I was going to boxing, we were doing our ladies' night, and like everything was just working really, really well. And then we just
Lockdown.
And I just thought, oh, okay, cool, I'll just stay home. So, so yeah, like I think it takes a lot of effort for me.
Yeah, I think Dion's guilty of the same thing sometimes because, you know, wanting to go to the gym and ladies' night, but that happens more than anything else.
Is that a snap? Is that
No.
When's the last time we went to ladies' night, please?
Before Corona.
No.
So,
how much more before Miss Rona arrived?
don't worry.
A long time before
I don't know. But back to my point. So as I was saying, she thinks about the family more than herself, which isn't a bad thing. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when I try to encourage her to go and do something for herself, sometimes I'll play football with friends from work and whatever else. I'll go basketball every week. And she's not really doing anything. So it's trying to encourage her to, it's not about her being selfish in a bad way, but you've got to be selfish just to have that little bit of me time and do something that's going to help you. Exercise is great in whatever shape or form because
but sometimes I think it's sad though, but hey.
It's about what?
Exercise? What are you telling me to exercise for?
Because it's good for you. It's good. Hey, Micah, exercise is good.
You get endorphins and it reduces stress.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. I agree with you. Exercise isn't just about wanting to look buff or have muscles. It's about the endorphin release. I love that.
Adrenaline rushes as well.
So maybe you just
That's a long thing. That's a long thing.
Then again, Stacey, I hear that.
Definitely go to the
same
spa.
endorphin from the spa. So
Endorphins from a spa.
yeah.
Hot water again. No, thank you.
Micah's scared of water, man. What's going on, Micah?
You know
Micah, no wash.
You know what I'm noticing, and I do have to like agree with this is, me time is definitely, it has to be an intentional thing for a female. Mm-hmm. It's like not a criticism of the males, but I feel like for a guy, it's so easy to just be like, right, I'm off to the gym. And like, sometimes it's like, how do you do that? How do you just drop and go? When for us, I feel like for us to have me time, or like for a mum to have me time, I remember we had this conversation before. I feel like my ideal conditions are no children within audible distance. They can't see, need or want me. I have to be far enough away for them not to bother me. And that isn't possible most of the time.
Those are too many variables.
That's exactly what Micah says every time.
If you need me time, you've got to have me time. You can't be waiting for the perfect ambient experience. It's just like you need it, you go get it. Like
but it doesn't work like that because again, as I said before, we think differently to you. Simple, the same thing as when you guys are falling asleep and you lot are chatting and we falling asleep. It's the same thing. So like Winnie's saying, when it's time, like Marcus will say to me, go to the gym. Now's your time. You can get to have your moment. And I'm like, right, okay, well, I need to go to the gym. So where's my stuff? What's the girls doing? What's she doing? Has she got that sorted? Right? Are they doing it? If I said to him, go to the gym, guns, that's it. Yeah. He's gone. And fair enough, because he knows that mom's gonna be there to do all the little.
Yeah. You're saying don't trust me?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't trust you. It's not. No, I'm not saying that I don't trust you. I'm saying that our thinking is different. So by the time, sorry, one sec. So by the time that we are putting ourselves into motion to get out the house, you lot done already gone and you're good and you can come back and we're still faffing around. Wasting a whole hour.
That's just a woman's prerogative, I think.
Go on, Shuri, sorry.
No, thinking that Marcus is going to get tump up today, though. See
what I said last week? You best believe when we come off this.
Marcus,
I found that, I know what you were saying about, is it a dig? Sometimes you feel like it's a dig. Like, you can feel like that sometimes on the basis that, I don't know about you girls, but I know that 12 years ago, I definitely was 3 dress sizes smaller and I had a 24-inch weave down my back. Look now.
The weave, you know.
It's a soft spot. It's a sore subject.
No, like it's real. Like, you know, we've had children. Like, all of us actually have had multiple children, and you know, sometimes you can kind of go into that. Oh, I wonder if, like, does he still feel the same? But fortunately for me, Jonathan, like, he's currently looking after Isaac, and then we'll swap. But look, for me, it's been really, I've been really blessed in that he has never made me feel any negative way at all. And anytime I've kind of had my little hiccups, which I'm sure as women we all do, he's always been there to, like, reassure me. But I think the reality is that everybody goes through that. And I'm just wondering if you guys have been through that and how you've dealt with it. And I'm sure you guys have all been really supportive.
I have absolutely been through it. I am in it. Like, I was a nice little tiny waist little thing, you know. Now my waist is like well, my waist used to be the size that my thigh is now.
It's
so
good.
Yes, Marcus likes it. As long as Marcus is happy, there is no problem. Marcus likes you thick. Just thank the Lord.
Amen.
Has he got a choice?
Well, you know what though? Men can feel the same though. I think sometimes it's always a woman thing, but I think men have that same sort of situation. They talk about baby fat and all that sort of thing, but men go through the pregnancy as well, if you know what I mean, in terms of wanting to be there, wanting to help, not being able to go and do things because your partner wants you there with them by their side. You know, babe, can you get me this? Babe, can you get me that? So, you know, you feel bad if you do go away or go to the gym or whatever else. So I think when I look at me, yes, I'm a bit bigger than I was, and I still try to work on it so that I feel more confident within myself. And I think, you know, don't forget that it's both of us that feel that way sometimes, isn't it?
That's a fair point.
Very good.
Like, when we got together, Rich and I had hair. And so I remember at the time, like, we actually were having these discussions from ages ago, from even before we were married, because one of Stacey's things was, if we got married, are you still going to, like, want me like 10, 15, 20 years down the line? And I think one of the things that you learn is when they go, oh, you know, what's your type as a man? And you learn this, and it's the only way that I believe you can really survive a marriage is your wife or your partner is your type. It's as simple as that. So whether you're little, whether you're large, whatever happens, whether you're hair, whether you're not, they are your type. So for me, if I was to ever be encouraging Stacey to change who she is, my reasons for encouraging her to change are because I'm supporting her in a change that she's already decided she wants to make. And I don't believe that. But I think you're on difficult ground if you start trying to go back to where you were before, because when you got married, you both started on the journey together. So why is it that you're wanting what you had at the start of the journey, ignoring all the learnings and the growth you've taken together?
Yeah, and that's
profound.
That's the danger as well, that when you go into the likes of marriage, that you have a perception that the person you went into marriage with is going to be exactly the same all the way through. Life is change. Things change throughout life, and we got to be careful about that, and not as you said, Dre, perfectly. Don't expect the person to be what they were 10 years ago, but still love it either way.
You better.
I think
it's your fault. Can I just say again? It's your fault. It's his fault.
It's true.
All these extra curves and all this fluffiness is because your children. So
well, you shouldn't look so good.
Well,
Marcus has got bars today.
Yeah. Marcus, you want 3 children as well, yeah? I'm
I might have to join you guys.
Sorry, guys, apologies. I'll say, little one's just woken up, so Cherie's gone to do the whole feeding mommy stuff.
I hear that.
But yeah, one of the things about body changes and stuff. That is what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I always explain to Cherie is that, yeah, her body's different from what it was when we first got together, you know, and she was jogging and she's running and doing all the gym stuff. What you got to understand is, like, it's for all women really, that your body made life. So you are going to have changes, but you almost got to accept those changes. You're like, I don't think you understood, like, it's a big thing. Like, heartbeat came out of your body. So that's the kind of thing you need to be looking at. Sometimes I'll touch her in and be like, oh, but like, don't be upset by it. Don't be shamed by it. That's the reason why we've got two beautiful boys, healthy and strong. So that's kind of the mentality I think as guys need to see, you know, the body's changed, but it's changed because it's made life, or the woman needs to understand.
Because you was a youth before, but now big man things now.
Big man things. 100%.
On that topic, Jonathan, right? And this goes out to all the ladies in this group, right? So if all of a sudden, the way we're talking, right, is as if these changes that we've experienced, both male and female, after getting married, are negative. So you know how we're trying to, like, we build each other up. We're like, we'll love you either way. Why is it that there's this stereotype that when we change, or when we put on weight, or when we don't look as we used to, or we get
negative?
older,
Yeah.
why is it negative?
Yeah.
Like, why is it not something you look forward to, that beautiful growth together?
Yeah, but so that's social media. That's, I believe anyway. I think that's media pressures. That's social media pressures. That's when you turn on the TV. It's the same thing we're trying to teach our children now, and trying to say, no, self-love, love yourself. You know, you don't have to have straight hair for you to be beautiful. It's that kind of thing. So when you got your locks,
Locks up.
You know what, guys? I mean, building upon those points, though. I mean, you guys said it perfectly about your body made life, and loving the size, loving the curves. I've always said to Winnie, you know, one of my favorite times is when she was pregnant. You know, I actually liked the weight gain. I liked the size. I liked the thickness. I thought she looked beautiful, and I liked the fact that my baby was growing inside of her. You know, and she never became less attractive to me because she had put on weight. And I've always said to Winnie, if you put on weight, it's never going to be a problem to me. I love you for who you are. So for me, now I'm more body conscious of myself. I'm body conscious of myself. I want to make sure.
Marcus put 4 fingers up, is like number 4's coming.
I'm more body conscious of myself. I want to make sure that I look a certain way. So I remember getting married, I had a 32 waist. Now my waist has gone a lot bigger, and I'm trying to slim it down again. You with me? But for me,
what size is that, Micah?
My waist is now 35 inches, and I'm trying to get it down to a 32 again. Pray for me, man. Pray for me.
I'm on the same journey. Like, the only way I can describe my physique is I look like the Grinch. Like, you're skinny, and then the belly just goes like this.
You don't have a belly, though, Trey. You don't have a belly.
That's how I feel anyway.
It's psychological, man.
It is psychological.
It's psychological. But the thing is, I guess I want to look a certain way for Winnie. I want to back off my top and walk down the beach and not have to hold in my belly. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like
that's for you, man.
It's for me. It's for me.
Don't bring my name into this.
It's for me.
But I feel the same way. I want to be able to, like, I'm definitely not the same way I was before I had these children. But I'm very aware of where I want to be in terms of my body. And it is for me, but it's also for Dre as well. I'm doing it for both of us because I know what I was like when he met me. But yeah, it is for me as well. I know where I have my own personal goals. And I think you have to be able to be happy with yourself and accepting of yourself.
And I think it's important to remember, I think someone said this to us one time when, you know, we were always talking about we want to go to the gym and we want to get fitter and feel fitter again. And, you know, not about getting super, super thin back to what we were, but just feel better in ourselves. And someone said to us, look, this is what happens in life. You've got dependents now that depend on you, and you're not going to be able to do everything that you used to be able to do until they become more independent again. Then you can start to do those things. But you're just in that part of your life at this moment in time. So just love that time. Love that time in your life. Love the time with your children. Love the time with yourselves as you are. And then, you know, who knows, a little bit further down the road, you can get back to you guys being you again.
And I also think, building upon that point, I also think that attraction is more than just physical. You know, you don't just look at your wife and think she's beautiful because she looks nice. There's a personality behind that and a character behind that that makes her beautiful.
And it's a journey that you've had together. I mean, I love you more than I did when I first met you because of everything that we've been together.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So, we're coming to the end of episode 2, but we did ask for you to send in questions, okay, and topics and whatnot. So here's the big reveal. So we've chosen a question, and the question is, drum roll please. Okay, so the question is, can you have a best friend of the opposite sex?
For those of you watching, feel free to join in and let us know your thoughts as well, like in the comments.
I was just about to say, stay tuned. Yeah, episode 3.
Episode 3, safe.
That's a whole episode on its own.
Yeah.
Good question. Very good question. I don't know. Should we take a vote? Let's just take a vote first before we talk about anything. So, if you think that you can have a friend of the opposite sex,
Best
friend. Oh, sorry, yeah. Best friend. Apologies. If you think that it's possible to have a best friend of the opposite sex, then raise your hand now.
Put it down.
Woo! Yes! Come on, Stacey. I think you should call that vote again and get. Yeah.
Can we have a duo?
As Dre said, people in the comments need to vote too.
I feel like I'm in trouble here.
Right, okay. So, reasons as to why you think it is. So we'll do like a for and against. We'll put our like a little game of mafia going on here. So we'll say, okay, tell me why you think it is and why you think it's okay and why you don't think it's all right and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Are you going to go first, Jared? Do you need a second?
I'm feeling hot. I'm under pressure now, bro.
Basically, the reason why I think it's okay to have a best friend, two sides to it. I think if you're already married, trying to establish a best friend, a female best friend within your marriage life is a no-no. That just can't happen.
Yeah.
But if you've had a female friend that you've grown up with and they've been part of your relationship in terms of your marriage, in terms of a friendship circle, then yeah, you can continue being best friends. But naturally, when your wife comes into the scene or your girlfriend who you're taking serious and you're courting, then that female friend will have to take a back step. And if they are your female best friend, then naturally they will take that back step. Mm-hmm. If it's more to them or anything else, then obviously, you can see for yourself there's an issue. But I feel like once you do have a female best friend, then they will naturally take a back step. And so there's nothing wrong with being on the phone for them for a couple of hours, telling them how your week's been or how life's happening.
I'm coming.
But it's gonna be like we're not chilling and cuddling. We're not going to the cinema together. So we're not going to crazy golf together because that's why.
Well, then that's not your best
what
friend.
time you on the phone?
Listen,
now?
Okay, so my definition of
not after Watershed.
What did he say?
What I would be saying is, if it was my best friend, it should be a case that I'm able to talk to that person at any time that I need them, because this is the reason. That's what qualifies them to be a best friend.
Yeah.
So they're there for you at any time. If you're going through something, it could be middle of the night, could be morning hours, and I'm phoning, and I may phone any one of you. Like, I may pick up the phone and go, Cherie, I'm going through this, or this is happening. Cherie would pick up the phone. She probably let it ring because she's sleeping, but then she'll pick up the phone and then she'll be like, okay, Dee, what's the problem? Do I need to come now? Now, that is what your best friend or that person should be there for, as a rock. Now, I think that yeah, you should have boundaries, don't get me wrong, but I still think that if you're choosing to have a best friend of the opposite sex, you need to be able to be that person for that, be that friend for that person. Yeah. So So regardless, say Jonathan, you were my best friend, and I said, Jonathan, like this is happening and something's happening, XYZ, and you're my best friend, regardless of what time in the night it is, I'm expecting you to come and help a sister out, because that's the friendship that we have. However, if you think that can't happen because of boundaries in your marriage or because of this and that, then we have to question, do you think it's appropriate?
So do you want to give Jonathan a chance to respond? Go on.
I think if like I said, if it is your best friend, they are not going to make that call to you knowing that you're in bed, lying down next to your wife and you got work in the morning. They're going to call their mom, they're going to call their dad, they're going to call their sister, auntie, uncle, because they know right now Jonathan's a bit busy. So I'll send him a message so he gets it in the morning and so he knows what's going on. That's how I see it. For me, if they're not meeting my criteria and my wife's criteria, then unfortunately we can't be best friends anymore, and that will be the end of it.
They need to make sure his criteria as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. End off. Like I ain't got a problem cutting off someone if they're not meeting up to the standards. So yeah.
There seems to be a slight difference in how we define best friend then.
Yeah.
Because for instance, when I had best friends, unless I had an interest in a particular woman, I'm not calling her at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. Like even like my best friends who are guys, I'm not calling them at those times. It's principle. And so what I found is, so my definition of what best friend is has changed after I got married. So your best friend is your partner. So when we're talking about best friend, there is no best friend but your partner, right?
Yeah.
So anybody outside your partner is a very good friend, not a best friend.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I'm struggling with something, I'm going to my best friend. I'm married to her. I'm living with her.
All right.
There are, if I've got good friends, it's like, so I grew up, I won't name it, but there were 3 of us who grew up, like myself, another guy, and one girl at church. We were all the same age. Now, she became like a sister to me. Like her parents were like my parents and vice versa. So we were like family. So growing up, I didn't look at her as the best friend. I didn't treat her any differently to a sister. Now, after I got married, this person vanished off the scene.
Yeah, but as that person vanished off the scene from there?
It was their own choice. Their own choice. So I'd been trying to contact this person. And so when I contacted her, and I actually saw her at church one time, and I was like, you've not been responding. I've not seen you for ages. Like, what's going on? You know, we were so tight. Her exact words to me were, you got married, so I wanted to give you your space. This is the thing. But I didn't look at her like she was a friend. She was no different when I looked at her than I did my sisters. Like she was that close to me. But she saw and she respected. Now, I've seen some of the comments coming up about what happens if your best friend has an ulterior motive. And that's when it becomes a bit saucy.
And that's the danger. How do
you stop that though? If somebody's coming to you and saying that they're your friend, and you know they become more of a friend, and you look good in that. Any friend would say, oh, you look nice in that. That's so nice. Next thing you know, oh, I really like that on you. Oh,
you got to have boundaries. You got to have boundaries. So as Jonathan and Dre have said, every friendship should have boundaries. So, for example, I agree with them so much about your wife being your best friend. That's the way it's supposed to be. But even if, for example, like my wife's my best friend, 100%. But even for people who may be in relationships where they feel as though they can't talk to their spouse, or they feel as though their spouse isn't their best friend, I'm not in that place. But for those people, I would even say having a friend of the opposite sex who you confide in is a no-no. It's a danger because automatically over time, your inhibitions are going to be lower, your boundaries are going to be lowered, and you might find yourself compromising. Suddenly, your wife is unattractive now, and that girl's the hottest thing on 2 legs. You know, that girl is speaking words of wisdom to you. She's boosting you up. She makes you feel nice. She touched your arm. You know what I mean? It's just silly.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Micah.
Yeah. But somebody
it's dangerous.
Someone said in the comments, they've said, well, then surely it will be both yours and your spouse's best friend. It's a shared best friend.
No. I disagree with that.
Best friend.
I disagree because okay, watch this now. Winnie might have a friend who she works with at work who's a guy, and I have no problem with Winnie having male friends, going to lunch with a male friend, cracking jokes with a male friend. No issue with that at all. I get on very well with women, and I have female friends, but I try my best to establish clear boundaries. But I think to myself, her friend isn't necessarily going to be my friend, and I've been to functions where Winnie's. We're like, where did we went to, babes?
Let's not talk about that.
No, but okay. Well, but here's the point.
Whoa, what was that? There was no baskets, were there?
No. Here's the point. I went to a function in a nutshell, and Winnie got on very well with her colleagues because she knew them, and I felt slightly awkward because although they were friendly with me, I just didn't have that same connection with them. You with me? So although they're her friends, they're not necessarily my friends. But I think there should be a mutual respect. So I could have a female friend that's not necessarily Winnie's friend, but she should know about Winnie. If I ain't linking up to go cinema with her or us going on one-on-one dates or anything like that. You know, Winnie knows who she is. She knows who Winnie is. She can come over to the house with her kids, so forth.
Well, I think it's dangerous, like you said before as well, Mikey. It can also be dangerous to the point where, as Andre made the point, that best friend is my wife. We've built that rapport. We've built that our marriage on our conversation, our communication, our problems we deal with. Even if you have a mutual best friend or what becomes a mutual best friend, like Jonathan's saying, I think there's still that danger, whether it's a guy for Dion's side or a woman for me. The problem then comes is that if they're a mutual best friend, then you start to share that kind of information with them, and you start going to them when you have an argument and all those sort of things. As you said, Micah, once I start confiding in that other person too much, I start to build that relationship, another relationship, to the point where you start to drift away from your marriage relationship and start moving into something else. So it's just dangerous. I think it's too dangerous.
Very easily catch feelings, bro, and find yourself in love with two women.
I just don't know how, to be honest, for me.
Dre wanted to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dre. Go on.
But like, it's just that definition of having what you classify as a best friend.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got different.
This is it. Whereas, like for me, as your wife is the best friend, there is no other friend, no matter how good a friend they are, which will usurp my wife. So if I need someone to confide in, my personal business is staying within this unit. Like you were saying in episode 1, D, like no matter what goes on between you and Marcus, game face. Yeah. You're a unit, you are inseparable.
Yeah, that's it.
No one can come between that. And if you as a person have a best friend that's of the opposite sex, and you can see that if you were going to have a conversation with your best friend or your partner, that you then take that elsewhere, that's that first chink between you two.
Yeah.
And that can't happen. So you've got to catch it early. But you've got to be mindful. It's not something where you can just say, oh, we're best friends, and then you just go about your business. You've always got to be mindful that nothing, no matter whether it's internal, external influences, come between you and your partner. That's a daily choice.
Yeah, if your friends don't respect you.
I agree with you, Dre, to be honest. And to be honest, I don't think I have the effort. Like, I don't have the mental energy to be able to have a best friend other than Micah, to be honest.
That's true.
I had a lot of like good close friends who were male, but as soon as I met Micah and we started courting, they were locked off, man. Not because I wasn't interested, but I was pouring all my energy and my attention
away from a woman.
Micah.
So it's interesting you just said that, Winnie, because someone has also said, quick question, have you lost good friends after you have got married, and why does this happen? Now, I personally think that I absolutely lost a lot of friends when I got married. Absolutely. And I think people stayed clear of me because I got married. Not even to say that they were trying to be spiteful, but I just think your shared interests are no longer the same. So you start to gravitate to people who are like-minded, and you know you are sharing the same opinions and the same view. I absolutely look back on my life, and I don't think that it was anything malicious. I don't think it was anything like that. I just think we genuinely just separated and went different ways just because you were at different stages in your lives.
Yeah.
Well, you can still always reminisce about the good times with that stage in your life as well.
You go through a natural change when you go into a relationship. You're starting to morph into whatever your partner wants. Your partner's starting to morph into you. Like you become one. Funny thing is, I noticed Dion's accent actually started to change, and then start to hear a Scouse accent a few years into their 2B together. Yes,
Marcus.
I don't sound like a Scouse, all right? I am definitely not a Scouse. I'm a Bloody.
What are you talking about, mate? What are you talking about?
But that's it. So even though it's something quite small in terms of accents, naturally you do start to change, and you're no longer that single Jonathan who used to chill, run around at the park, play basketball, meet the man them up in Lincoln, sit down and chill. You're now your partner. You're spending all your time with your partner, and you're investing in your partner the same as your partner's investing in you. So you will unfortunately lose friends, and friendships will start to change.
Right, I'm conscious of the time, guys, because we have like done our hour. Shall we push it for another 10-15 minutes?
Yeah.
Shall we?
Everybody,
all right then.
Everybody listening want us to speak for another.
Hello, baby.
I'm not having any of it. Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. This is a good example of what happens when you guys get on well together as a marriage. Look at that.
Okay, so I'm gonna read another question.
Nothing right now.
Have you guys had someone confess their undying love for you, even though they know that you're married?
Well, no. One, because I feel like anybody, if that person genuinely loves me, they would respect the fact that it's not that, it's Cherie.
100%.
So I think that
That's so wild.
it is though, because you kind of know, like, nah. I know would ever come with that talk to me.
So got like zero tolerance.
Because I'd want it straight away. I'd want it straight away. Like, nah. Prior to that instant, like, no. As soon as the words start coming out your mouth, I'm either walking away or we got serious beef. Like,
not even finish the sentence properly, and it sentence not even finish. I still have.
Jonathan. Jonathan, listen, you might bring someone back from the edge of death, man. They might look into your eyes, watch your locks swishing, and be like, "I love you."
Oh, easy. Wow, take time, Mike. Take time.
No, but these things, even though these things, we haven't necessarily had to deal with that. Like these are real things. People have experienced this. So what would you say to somebody who has to deal with this now? So they've just said to you, okay, well, you know what, Marcus, I love you, and I know you're with Dion, and but I have to let you know that I want to be with you.
That's nice.
That's it. There's no more talk, is there? You got.
Yeah, you gotta create that boundary.
But the thing is, it's like. Sorry, babes. Go on, babes.
I was gonna say this might seem a bit harsh, and maybe it is because it is harsh. But there's either something not right there with that person confessing it, and they are not aware of boundaries. I'm trying very hard to stay.
That's it.
I'm trying very hard not to use your line, Cherie, because I have to be aware of the live stream. But there's either something not right with the way this person perceives things, or you have to self-evaluate yourself and wonder, is there any chance that person could have thought that you were giving off vibes that made them think they even had the remotest chance when they confessed that?
That's it, Winnie. I think that's it. Because what are we giving off? If somebody feels that it's okay to approach you in that manner, what is it that you are feeding to them so that they think that is okay?
But then again, the flip side of this is, I've heard of cases where people have fallen in love with doctors or therapists or doctors.
My experience, by the way.
As I said to Winnie, there's still time. She's still young. Doctors or therapists or teachers, they've built an affiliation between these people because of the professional relationship. And I don't always think that you necessarily have to lead the person on or inveigle them to feel these feelings. I think sometimes based on circumstance, people can feel very much attracted to you and even feel as though they're falling in love with you.
But love's a bit strong. Love would require a bit. I like you, but love would require some sort of something from you.
Had to feel that it was reciprocated. One way or another.
Or infatuation.
That's why for me I'm saying like because I'm not going to give anybody that thought that, you know what, maybe I have something.
You got a chance, for real.
One, I haven't got time for that. I've got a wife, 2 children. I want to go to BJJ, so I ain't got time talking about how much of a good friend.
Moment for us. Please.
Yeah.
Shut down, man. Shut
Just
down.
tell them you pray for them and keep it moving, man.
Trust me.
Yeah, you gotta be nasty in a nice way in those sorts of situations. Because whether as you say, whether it's a mental thing, whether it's just infatuation, whether they're just trying to push the boundaries to see if you'll open up, you just gotta, as you say, Jonathan, you just gotta shut it down. Walk away.
Yeah, ooh, that was a deep question.
I think it's better to lose a friend than lose your spouse.
Yeah,
trust me. Everything you've worked on and built on for however many years, because we're not talking about just marriage. The time when you're courting. I keep saying that word, you know. It's not courting, man. Like, you're going out talking.
Courting when we're courting.
Nah, but last time I said courting, I used inverted commas. Last time I said courting. This time it just came out naturally. No, that's not how I talk. But yeah,
it's that post-30 lingo.
Let's say it again.
That post-30 lingo, isn't it?
He's nearly over the bridge now, mate.
You know?
Climbing up that ladder.
Oldest in the group, remember?
Yeah.
Yes, listen to my wisdom.
Well, guys, listen, we've come to the end. Now, this has been fun, and the comments have just been flowing on Facebook, and I think lots of people have really enjoyed this, and I'm assuming they're looking forward to a next one. But let me just, as we begin to wrap up, let me share a Bible passage and encourage you with a few words. This is what the Word of God says. It's found in Mark chapter 10, verse 9. That's Mark 10, verse 9. It says, "What therefore God has joined together, let no man or woman put asunder."
Amen.
Married. And I pray that no woman or man will ever come in the way of our marriage. I hope that nobody will ever declare their undying love for you and expect you to leave your spouse for them. I hope will also be blessed within their relationship and also in their marriage, because the devil wants to ruin good marriages. He wants the divorce rates to be higher. And I pray that God will bless each person in their relationship and in their marriage, because really and truly, we are doing this for God's glory.
Okay, guys, let's have a prayer to close. Father, we thank you for the time we've spent in conversation, in just getting to know each other and encouraging each other, Lord. We hope that everyone that's been watching and listening with us is touched. We hope that everyone has heard what we've said and may have been encouraged by our words and our experiences. Lord, we're not experts, but we know that we have you in our life, and with you, we can overcome and conquer all things. Be with the Can We Just Talk show, be with those that are on here and those that are listening. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Then, so Michael, do you want to tell the people the way how they can follow us, see what's going on, what's coming next?
Yeah, so basically you can follow us on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook. We have a YouTube and Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Can We Just Talk ? So please do like, please do subscribe, please do follow. Also follow us on our personal individual Instagram pages and stuff like that.
We need
1 minute boost.
1 minute boost as well.
1 minute boost.
the original.
Hey, and guys, send your questions through, send topics through. We'll be looking at different things each week. If we didn't have other jobs and busy lives, we'd probably do more live videos, but we can only do it once a week at the moment. So send them in, give us plenty of material, and we'll just have some discussions and we'll just talk.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you all. Thank you. Bye.